Okay, on the Mpgymbox podcast today, we have another boxing chat with Jason Patterson. How you doing, Jace?
I'm doing good, staying positive
Yeah.
and taking it a day at a time.
Yeah, so we're going to get back up and running with this now. It's been a few weeks that we haven't done chat and the podcast haven't gone, but as of this week onwards, we're getting back to it. The last time we spoke, was it about, it was Mike Tyson, wasn't it? We spoke about Mike Tyson, the comeback.
Yeah, making his comeback.
Yeah. So again, that was in the headlines that week, and that was the topic of that week. But this week, and it seems to be getting more real as lockdown sort of slowly comes to an end, and people are getting back to work, people being allowed to meet in groups, is the return finally of boxing. Now, from a British point of view, Eddie Hearn has come up with a plan to get boxing back behind closed doors. Well, so like outdoors, but behind closed doors initially. It's called Fight Camp, and the plan is to at Matchroom headquarters, which was Eddie Hearn's old house, like some massive mansion, and it's got a huge, God knows how many acres back. I won't say it can't even count as a back garden. It's huge. It's like a vast amount of land. And I'm on about putting a ring there with a canopy, building changing rooms, building like a studio there for Sky Sports. And it's called Fight Camp. So everything of the week of the fight is being played out there. Weigh-ins, press conferences, everything is going to be there. And he plans to have 4 weeks consecutively boxing, so it might be like I presume it'll be a Saturday, Friday or Saturday. Every Saturday, Friday is going to be a fight night. With I think 5 to 6 fights on each card. I think that's what he was saying. 5 to 6 fights per card.
Okay.
With the last show headlining, he hopes is going to be White Povetkin. It's interesting because nothing's ever been done like this before, as in like, there's been outdoor fights, as in like, back in the day, arena fights are outdoors, and Caesar's Palace used to be on the car park, the fights at Caesar's Palace back in the day, Tommy Hearns, Hagler and all that was always, there's never in an arena. But this is behind closed doors, which is going to be really weird because you're going to be able to hear the coaches shouting instructions, you're going to hear the punches, it's going to be a weird experience. I presume, I don't know, the fourth week of boxing, the White Povetkin fight, I presume will be pay-per-view because it was initially going to be pay-per-view anyway. And to be fair, that is a really good fight. White Povetkin.
That's a really, really interesting, because, I mean, you know how I feel about pay-per-view. I feel like this is a new time now, but it's going to be hard to get this on pay-per-view, or they're going to have to change a lot of things, prices. You usually get the, the money from fans coming. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I think they have to make
That's going to all change.
I think he has to put that pay-per-view because at the end of the day, White is going to want a certain amount of money because at the end of the day, he's in England anyway, he's quite a big star. And to get Povetkin from Russia into England, especially in this Corona time, he's going to want money. And the only way they're going to generate that money is pay-per-view. You can get British title fights and lower-level domestic fights on normal Sky Sports, but to have White and Povetkin, and to be fair, it's a guaranteed knockout. That ain't going to points for nothing. They said, Dylan White said, maximum.
You're probably right, but, maximum. The money's so important in boxing at the gate when it's pay-per-view that they're not going to generate that kind of money with no fans to be able to put it on pay-per-view. So for it to happen, there's a lot of things that's going to have to change.
More, you'd be surprised, how little the gate revenue matters in a fight. Next to nothing.
Really?
That's why the MGM Grand, look at the MGM Grand, yeah? The MGM Grand only holds 16,000. But they reckon when it was like big fights happening in Vegas, they generate more money in the MGM, it generates more money in Vegas in the MGM Grand than it would do in an 80,000 seat stadium. They'll generate more money in because the tickets are more expensive. And that's why most big fights are on pay-per-view these days, because of they have to pay the fighter. So you pay £25. It's like $100 in America, and it's ridiculous. It's like $100 a big fight in
the
America.
thing is, they're gonna have to change the prices, whether it's in America or
Yeah.
whether it's in the UK or anywhere around the world,
What do
because
you think it'd be cheaper?
COVID-19, everybody's stuck in the house.
Yeah.
Usually on a pay-per-view fight, and that's around the world, there's one person that, buy the fight, and then they have a whole boxing party, and I guess everybody pitch in to put money into what he paid for the fight.
Yeah.
Well, we can't, I know things are getting lifted around the world at the moment, but we still can't do no big gatherings. So all of that, they have to think about those things. And Steven Espinoza, the president of Showtime Sport, he pointed those things out. How the money at the gate is gonna be different. We usually have a set price, and we know that people usually have fight party where everybody pitch in.
Yeah.
We got to think about the Americans that's in the house not getting paid, collecting unemployment, and still trying to make ends meet at the end of the month to pay their bills.
Yeah.
So all that got to be taken into account.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they won't, but all that got to be taken into account.
Well, I think especially in America, because America, which is ridiculous, pay-per-view money in America, it's like $100. It used to be 75, then it went to $75, which is more or less equivalent to the pound now. There's not a lot in it now, pounds to dollars.
Right, everything going down because of the economy.
So what I'm saying is it's more or less the same. That's ridiculous. I mean, I think it's steep when Joshua fights are 25 quid. You know what I mean? Whereas in it's a lot it's a lot cheaper here, but it's still steep. But I think there will be a boom, and I think there'll be a lot of interest, because especially for hardcore boxing fans, you've missed it, and we're waiting. You've already seen the UFC. UFC now have had like 4 or 5 shows now. The UFC, they're way ahead. Boxing's yet to make a move, and I think that's I think that's why Eddie Hearn wants to be first. You know what I mean? He wants to say, "Oh, maybe," he wants to say, "Oh, I got," because at the end of the day, I suppose he's got to look at it from both. He's got his. He's got like a foot in America and a foot in UK. He's got to get it, but he's got a lot of American fighters, big top American fighters under his banner. So he needs to get things moving first. Will it be weird without crowds? Of course it will. Crowd makes an event. As much as you're watching the two people in the ring, the entrance is everything. Walking through, the entrance, walking through the crowd, it's everything. And then when a shot lands, or when someone gets dropped, or the crowd's reaction, it makes the event. It's going to be a bit surreal. The UFC, I watched the UFC. That was a bit weird. It's surreal. It's weird. And you hear everything the coach. It's going to be interesting. You hear everything the coaches say. Everything. So clear. You hear the ref break, warning them.
Yeah.
But
how much of it do you think is going to impact the fighters? I'm not saying it's going to be like a sparring session, because there's a lot of chips on the table.
Yes, of course.
There's a lot of risk, but atmosphere-wise, it's going to be similar to a sparring session behind closed doors.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though it's a sparring session with more pressure, because there's a lot of chips on the table.
You will have the nerves of a fight, because you're in 10-ounce gloves. You walk into the ring. That man wants to knock you out. And there's like you say, there's a lot at stake. There's rankings, there's everything. Your health's at stake. Sparring, your health's at stake in sparring.
And it's on national TV.
Yeah, but I think some fighters will be okay with it, because what you got to take into account, amateurs, especially top pros. Top pros have genuinely fought all around the world as an amateur. Top pros. So.
Yeah, sure.
Dylan White didn't, but I know Povetkin did. Povetkin was a gold medalist, wasn't he? He'd have fought all over the world representing Russia. So, but at amateur events, mate, the Olympics and World Championships and European Championships in amateur, there's hardly anybody in there. It's weird. It's a weird scenario. The Olympics, you get quite a few, the Olympic finals. But the World Championships, they're fought in like some hall, and there's hardly anybody there. There's like 50 people, max 40 people. And don't forget, a lot of these fighters as well, they fought as kids in social clubs. And even early, late teens, early 20s, they fought in a social club where there's, again, 80 to 100 people there. There's no one there. And they've fought, they've tried to win. So if you come from an amateur background, you'll be okay. Of course it's weird, especially you've got like for instance, Dylan White.
I do feel like some fighters, I'm thinking about every fighter is a fighter. They have that fighting mentality. But I'm talking about you get into a situation when you're down and you really got to go within whatever's inside of you. Sometimes you have the coaches, but you can strive of your family that's coming to watch you, or the people in the crowd that's chanting your name. Yeah. And that just brings that extra will into you. Some fighters sometimes feed up that. Yeah. They won't have that to be able to rely on.
Well, there's some fighters like Conor Benn. He said he wasn't that happy about fighting behind closed doors because, again, the way he fights, he's very aggressive, very, he's down to earth, humble character, like one of the regular people. So he's got a good fan base because he wears his art on his sleeve. So, he puts it all on the line and the fans love that. So I get that. I think what's going to suffer most on the local British scene is your local fighters. Because what happens is, at a local area, so we'll say we're in the West Midlands, aren't we? So what happens is, when you put small hall shows on, so like Walsall Town Hall or the Civic or venue, those fighters get, the only reason that show's on, the only reason they put the show on, the only way they can put the show on is through ticket sales. The fighter gets paid through ticket sales. He don't sell no tickets, he don't get paid. And if he don't sell no tickets, because normally your ticket sales pay the opponent as well. So they're at a disadvantage straight away. I can't see there being any small or shows on for quite a long time. Because how can they do it behind closed doors? The only way I think they can do it behind closed doors is if all the local fighters fight for free, which I don't think they're going to do, because they have to pay for training.
I definitely think the fighters' purses, even in the pros, in the limelight, will have to change.
Yeah.
They will have to adjust. I mean, we all know what's going on with the Zone and Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
That's whatever, how they did the business. It's not just because of the pandemic, but even the other companies that's not suffering like the Zone will have to adjust because they're not going to make as much revenue as they would have if the fans and everything was back to normal.
But
personally, I don't think so.
But so that's what I'm saying. But local fighters might get an opportunity, which they never more, because basically, especially if the borders are still, you can't fly in and out of different countries and that because of this lockdown.
Travel ban and all that stuff.
That means then some local British fighters might get an opportunity that they wouldn't have had otherwise. They'd have picked someone on a higher ranking from a different country, say America or Mexico, somewhere like that. But now they've got no choice but to look further down the rankings and find a British fighter because they have to, because they can't get another fight from abroad. That gives a prospect a very good opportunity. But there ain't going to be many. I think more, it'll be the small promoters and local shows that will suffer the most because it's all on ticket money and they're not going to get television revenue. So that's where they're going to struggle the most. Sky Sports, Eddie will always survive and always come back strong because it's the structure. I've not heard anything of Frank Warren yet. I don't know. I mean, Frank Warren is a legend of the British boxing game, and he's old school. But Eddie Hearn is by far the biggest driving force in UK boxing. So he's got the funds, the structure to do that. So
that's interesting. Some of the stuff that Eddie Hearn said, as far as he's targeting mid-July. He wants about 5 fights on the card and a show every week, basically, for a whole 4 weeks. Yeah. So it's going to be like a big old boarding school, you know what I'm saying? You sleep, eat, you stay there, you train there. Yeah. Well, Bob Arum said some similar things. Yeah. Unfortunately, not to burst your bubble, but Eddie Hearn won't be the first with a show. Because I've listened to Steven Espinoza, the president of Showtime Sports. Yeah. He was alongside the same line as Bob Arum, as Eddie Hearn. He was targeting July. He thought June was too early.
Yeah.
And he wanted to give more time for the fighters to train when they actually have a fight date. It was interesting when I was listening to Bob Arum in an interview a couple weeks ago. He was already targeting mid-June. From when we was not even sure about the lifting.
But is it actually happening? Is it actually happening in mid-June?
Well, now it is. When I looked at the interview a couple of weeks ago, we had no dates.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know if stuff was going to be lifted with the lockdown. Stuff was just starting to open up in America, but there was still uncertainties, and it still is till this day. Stuff hadn't opened up yet in the UK, and he was already saying mid-June.
Yeah.
Now, official date, there's a card next week, June 9th.
Who's that?
Oh, no, June 9th. When is June 9th? Sorry, it's June 9th. June 9th, that's a Tuesday. And he said, so what he said was he was in talks a couple weeks ago. He was in talks with the commissions. He had no clue where he was going to fight at. Commission he was in talks with was the Nevada, California, and Texas.
Yeah.
He wanted regular testing for boxers and the camera crews. He also wanted fights with no audiences. He was working on having a major property in the Las Vegas area. Yeah. If the fight was to happen in Nevada, because he was starting to talk with the commission, he wanted to put the fighters into quarantine. Yeah. He also wanted to get 2 to 3 fight cards a week, basically 2 to 3 shows a week. But he was keeping the fights at a minimum. Yeah. You see, Eddie Hearn said 5 fights. Bob Arum was saying 4 fights, max. Yeah. Max. And he wanted also to invest and get a machine that would get him tests results within 15 minutes. And he will quarantine all the fighters. He said the only issue was with foreign fighters and the travel ban. And he don't mean just foreign fighters as in like people that are not Americans, but like foreign fighters that doesn't reside in America. Mm. Like Lomachenko is one of his main ones. Yeah. And he went back to Ukraine.
Yeah, when it all happened, yeah.
So he's not in America at the moment. So those are the struggles.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this pundit, Mark Griegel, boxing pundit. And he was saying that he had spoke to Bob Arum, and he said that he was going to have a single sanitized disinfecting facility where people will train when fight week or whatever, and will be there the whole time. Yeah. Kind of similar to Eddie Hearn, but not like a whole month. Yeah. And as far as we know now, he has fight cards planned out for the whole month of June. Because he said he wanted 2 or 3 per week. Yeah. Well, he kind of stick to his promise. So June 9th, June 11th, June 16th, June 18th,
Bloody hell. So he's
June 20th, and June 23rd. All those are already set. That's with the fights, the cards, and schedule. So June 9th, you got Shakur Stevenson, 13-0, 7 knockouts. He's fighting Felix Caraballo or something like that. Call him La Sombra, the Shadow. He got 13 wins, 1 loss, and two draws. Yeah. And then Michaela Mayer. By the way, I think Shakur Stevenson, the guy is fighting tough, come forward fighter, don't really use his jab. I believe Shakur will stop him, but the guy's probably going to be stronger. But Shakur will be able to use his distance and stop him. But because of the conditions, no fans, and it's happening in Vegas. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to play a part, but if Shakur's focused and all that, he should stop the guy. Michaela Mayer, she's fighting some Nigerian girl called Helen Joseph. She looks tough. She got some technique on her. I think it's going to be her toughest fight to date. But I'd still get her on top if she used a jab and all that. My thing is, Bob Arum said that he wanted to, for the first card, get fighters that are known and that have fought on ESPN before. Yeah. Obviously, there might not be big names to the world. There are fighters that are known in America, and you can only deal, just like Eddie Hearn, with domestic fighters because of all these issues with travel bans. Yeah. And basically, I know he's planning on White Povetkin. Yeah. But Bob Arum was saying right now, it doesn't make sense with the logistics to have title fights.
Yeah.
And really big fights. So he's going to wait a few weeks to see how all this goes. And he's hoping that everything goes as planned.
Yeah.
With all his plans to keep the fighters safe with the testing and all that, and see how it goes. And he's hoped to be the template or the blueprint for other promoters to start doing shows.
Well, I think, yeah, once, I think that's what it stands. I think, one promoter, where you obviously Bob Arum's first, if all those shows go well, then I think everybody else, I think everyone will just follow them. Because I think one thing as well, I think at first, no one wanted to be first.
That's the thing, it's a big risk.
If you wanted to be first and then it all went wrong, you're like, oh God, it's your fault. The UFC, it went very well, but the Ferguson card, one fighter tested positive at the weigh-in, I think, or after the weigh-in.
And everybody, the whole world was watching the way they was going to handle it.
But they handled it very well. He didn't fight. Boom. I think, did he get a replacement? I can't remember now. He went straight into quarantine. Boom. The fight went, the card went well. No problem now. I think they've had, like 4 or 6 cards now out. The UFC was on last night. It's just, if it goes well, they just need to, I think it should, because at the end of the day, if you're getting constant testing, it's hard for it to go wrong, really, because at the end of the day, someone tests positive, okay, you're not fighting, you've got to quarantine. And as long as the stick in the certain groups are the coach, the fighter, whoever, conditioning coach, assistant coach, whoever is around has to isolate together. Same with the other team. They can't go out. Someone has to go out and get like the nutrition, the food, stuff like that. So really, you're limited who you're exposed to. There you go. I don't see any problem with it. Well, like you say, the lockdown in this country is getting more and more relaxed every week, it seems now. I mean, now you can meet up to 6 people now at distance. So,
yeah, I know people. It's just going to be hard because people are going to be fearful, even though the government are being more lax.
Yeah.
So far in opening things up, the economy is hurting. A lot of people are thinking, is it because of doctors and the health officials that's giving them advice? And I'm sure they are, but also they're probably getting pressure with the economy going down.
Yeah, so, like you say, there's two sides. There's two. So like even Eddie,
it's just gonna be mixed feelings, and I gotta commend Dana White. I have to admit that. Shout out to my boy Lewis, because usually I'm so pro boxing, but Dana White in the UFC set the blueprint for boxing.
Yeah.
As much as we the kind of like the mother sport of martial arts when it comes to like the history and how famous we've been so far.
Yeah.
The UFC set the blueprint for boxing to reopen up.
I think what it is with UFC and boxing, UFC is a bigger promotion than Matchroom, than Top Rank, than PBS Showtime, than that. Boxing as a whole is a bigger sport, but the difference is with boxing and UFC is one organisation. So for one single organisation, it's got a lot more money. If Eddie Earn, Bob Arum, Al Heyman, Golden Boy all joined up as one, then they're very powerful. But they're all separate. Yeah, most of them don't even like each other. So UFC has got more funds in one organisation. You know what I mean? Got more funds. So, all right. So
I completely agree.
I agree. There's no bickering. There's no this. We're going then. Like, if Eddie Earn wants to make a fight with a top rank fighter, it's got to be all negotiated with. Well, it's okay. Well, this fighter is ready. He's going to come out of quarantine. He's going to fight. But then another promoter's fighter can say, "Oh no, he ain't coming out of quarantine." If Dana White says go, they go. And it's as simple as that. And
no, you're right. I wouldn't say they have a bigger promotion.
Oh, dude.
But
I think UFC is the most simplified promotion in the world.
I don't know.
Who's bigger?
I'm not gonna argue it, but I'm not gonna agree to it. I don't know. But
UFC
I just know the system is more simplified. I give you that. It's way more easier. Even though there's still politics, it's less politics than boxing. They give what the fans want to see.
Yeah.
But it's also very controlled by one man.
Yeah, it's a dictatorship. But It's
definitely, but in some ways, it might be better for the sport that way, and in some ways, it might hurt the sport.
you see better.
I will have to let
it's
I will have to let my boy Lewis weigh in on this because I'm not an expert when it
well,
comes
basically the
to
difference is
UFC. But it's
basically
boxing is so divided. That's where the issue it comes.
basically
It's
the
a
difference.
division, but I don't think the promotion is less. It's just a division that caused a lot of issue to the promotion. I wouldn't say because of that UFC is a better promotion.
I think
It's an easier promotion.
I mean, look, I'm one of the biggest boxing
For the
fans.
fans, right?
I think I'm a boxing. I think by far, and I'm you know I love boxing, but I'm boxing. You know, I live and breathe it. UFC production of an event is miles better than any boxing production I've ever seen.
There's so many aspects, Coach. Like there's so many aspects.
Anyway,
as far as this, like
4 billion. Yeah, that's what.
From a fan standpoint. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
UFC got bought. UFC's worth was $4 billion. Top Rank ain't worth $4 billion. Golden Boy ain't worth $4 billion. Eddie Hearn ain't worth $4 billion. That organisation, it's huge. They've got fighters all over the world. They're the number one brand I would say they're the number one brand in combat sports, including boxing.
So are you saying UFC is a bigger sport than boxing?
Branded as a brand, yeah. Not MMA, no. I think boxing as a whole. Look, UFC, in my opinion, we've gone way off track here, but UFC will never be as big as boxing, controversial, just purely because of the history. Like, earlier I was on a podcast with Lewis and was talking about the GOATs. They're GOATs. The GOATs we're talking about only go back the last 30 years. You talk about Sugar Ray Robinson and Jack Johnson and Willie Pep and that, you're going back hundreds of years. It can never catch up because UFC will produce a good era. Yeah? Boxing will. The only way they catch up is if boxing goes like this, and that ain't going to happen. So, but anyway.
That's true.
Back on track anyway. Go
ahead.
Go on, yeah, carry on.
No, all I was saying about the promotion aspect was that there's so many different views of it because you're saying they have the best promotion, which it definitely was the first one. I mean, we're saying about what promotion going to do it first, whether it's Eddie Hearn or Bob Arum. Obviously, Bob Arum going to deliver first for boxing.
Yeah.
But as far as fighting, we have to give credit where credit is due. Dana White did an amazing job, and he delivered first. And now boxing, I like, okay, see what the UFC did? Now we got a blueprint. And now Bob Arum is wanting to give the blueprint to the rest of the promotion for boxing. But really, Dana White was the one that gave the blueprint. But as often as fans, they give what the fans want to see. From that perspective, I agree with you. But let's talk about purse. And from a fighter standpoint, boxers get paid way more than UFC fighters. So I don't think the fighters would agree with you.
No.
Because the fans will, but the fighters will be like, oh, I ain't trying to get paid that.
Yeah, I agree. No,
I'm trying to keep my purse.
I agree. It's a double-edged sword. So
there's so many aspects.
From a fan's point of view, you get to see the best fight the best.
Yeah,
but the fighters don't get paid as well. But very rare in boxing, you see the best fight the best constantly. Very rare. It's very rare.
I gotta give Dana White his credit and the sport definitely.
What will happen with this though? What could happen with this? Which it depends how many. It depends how many people have been furloughed. It depends on businesses. What could happen with this now is, let's say lockdown comes to an end. Yeah, fingers crossed sooner than later. Yeah, the fingers crossed. It ends quite soon. But what could happen is tickets say, all right, yeah, pay-per-view, okay, £25, okay, fair enough. But what could happen now is, because Joshua needs a fight. Fury needs to fight Wilder. Lomachenko needs a fight. Because everything's been put on hold. Fights were supposed to happen in April, May, June. Big fights. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. God, there's a lot of Canelo, all these fights were supposed to happen. But what could happen now is, let's say they start making them again now. What could happen? I don't mind paying £25 for a pay-per-view, White Povetkin. But what I've got a problem is okay, let's say White Povetkin's now. Then top rank mates Loma against someone else. Yeah, okay, I've got to pay pay-per-view for that. Then it's Canelo versus Billy Joe. I've got to pay pay-per-view for that. Then it's Devin Haney versus Luke Campbell. I've got to pay pay-per-view for that. Before you know it, you're paying like £200-300 a month on shows. Normally, I don't mind paying £25 every now and again. Like, you know, pay-per-views end up being like once every 1 to 2 months. I don't mind that. But then another thing is, let's say lockdown ends, you've got all them shows now back to back because Canelo, surely, Joshua, they're itching. They want to fight. So then what can happen then is, have fans at the end of this lockdown got the money to go and pay $200-300 for a ticket.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what Steven Espinoza, the president from Showtime, was saying. And then there's so much more than that, because that's just the fan aspect and then paying pay-per-view. But Espinoza was like, okay, all of my shows, I'm going to need 2 ambulances for the entire show.
Yeah.
You got to remember where Espinoza is located at, just to give you a perspective.
Yeah.
He's located in New York. And we all know how Corona is in New York.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the whole country, Memorial Day weekend in America, was opening beaches.
Yeah.
New York beaches was not open.
Yeah.
Those were still closed.
Yeah.
So he said he needs 2 ambulances for the entire show. Now he said, now you got to make sure that it is not taken away from the people in real need.
Yeah.
Because we got to understand, sport is important.
Yeah.
And it's some people's livelihood because that's their job, sports.
Yeah.
But we got to realize the entertainment and the sport can't take away of the people in real needs.
Yeah.
So now you're taking ambulances because this is a violent sport. Let's keep it real.
Of course, yeah.
You don't want, they're already understaffed and people are being quarantined and all that type of stuff. You're taking that staff away from people that might be affected from it.
Yeah.
That's one thing he pointed out. Then he says the crowds, how we discussed earlier, the money issue, the smaller cards. Then he said something in America where some states given guidelines for the amount of rounds for the whole show.
Really?
I don't know the logic behind it.
Yeah.
Right? But obviously, the more rounds, the more fights.
Yeah.
And I know they want small cards. So that might be the reason for it. And those are issues too. So there's so many issues. So to me, it's really impressive that Bob Arum put something together. Because at the time he did the interview, he didn't even know, he was talking to 3 commissions. He didn't even know that Nevada would be opening to be able to do it. And last time I checked, where did Dana White has fight at? What state?
You know,
was it Florida? I'm not sure.
It wasn't Nevada. Nevada said no.
It wasn't. At the time, I don't think.
I don't know about now, but I know originally they said no. Because he was
exactly. That's what I remember.
He was going to do it at the UFC Institute. You know, that gym they've got, that big, massive facility in Vegas. It's got like a full-size cage, everything in the gym, everything in there. He was going to do it there, but Nevada said no. Okay, so okay. So Jason is just about to go. Is he there now? Is he, Jason?
Yeah.
All right. Quickly go on. Is he
Part
in there?
2.
Is he actually outside?
Part 2. Yep.
Okay. Quick then, hurry back. Jason's just gone to get a package. Got a delivery. I'm going to carry on talking anyway. So my thoughts on the shows. I think everything will run smooth to the UFC for the UFC, similar to what the UFC did. I think it'd be the same. You might get the odd fighter that tests positive, but if he's quarantined, that fight's off. But I do think that what will be hurt the most in this lockdown and bring your fights back is local shows, smaller shows, prospects who are got smaller promoters because they rely on ticket money. I think they will be affected the most. It could be a long time unless the only way they're gonna get fights is if Matchroom, Frank Warren, or someone like it, a bigger promoter gets them a fight behind closed doors. Local show, I can't see local shows put local fighter against another local fighter for quite a long time, just purely because they rely on ticket money. And one, there's going to be a lot of people who are not willing to go to a public event, and two, as it stands, it could be quite a long time before you can get 500 or 600 people in one venue. And then there's the aspect of money. Let's say that it was open. Are people going to pay £50-60 for a ticket? If they've been in lockdown, let's say they're self-employed and they haven't got the self-employed and they haven't got the funds. They've been out of work for like 2 or 3 months. Are they willing? Normally they go and support the local fight, but now they can't because of Corona, and they can't afford to pay the £60. Because it's not just the £60 they pay for the ticket. Then there's the drinks for the night out. There's the taxi. There's the food. There's everything that's with it. So I don't see. Well, it could happen, but I think that's a problem. I do honestly. Oh, he's back.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Wasn't Eddie Hearn talking about cooks and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, what will happen is, I presume, it depends who's going to do it, because are the fighters going to be put in a hotel, or they're going to be staying at that matchroom headquarters? Because I know it's probably like 10, 11 bedrooms at that house. So, but even 10, 11 bedrooms, it's not a lot if there's 5 fights. Let's say you've got fighter, cornerman, cutman, new strength and conditioning coach is normally in the corner now. That's 5. That's 5 different rooms there. So I presume they'll be put in a hotel.
And it's interesting what Eddie Hearn said.
They will have their own chef. I presume they will have their own chef. I think they need to. They can't just go out to, especially because they're going to be making weight. They aren't just going to go, well, I suppose family could cook it, but I presume they'll probably have a chef, nutritionist on site. They're
going to have to, because even see family cook it or they go somewhere else, that's contact with other people.
Yeah, he's building a gym. He said he's building a gym and like changing rooms for the fighters, because obviously they're on the night they're going to need a changing room. So he's going to be doing that. That's going to have to be quite big, because you're going to have to separate quite a big group of people. I do think I do think it'll run smoothly. They might have the odd one person that tests for Corona, but the way I see it, the Premier League's back up and running now. They're getting tested every day with the temperature thing. They will be getting blood tested. So you're going to
need to get coronavirus tested.
That's what they're doing. Football.
Oh, all right.
Premier League footballers they're getting tested regular. I think it's once a week. Every time they come into training, they're having the temperature check. And look, if they get it, the quarantine. It ain't as if like they're getting it, and it's better if you know you got it. You know you got it. Okay, you got to be careful. But if you tested, you can train. You can be around.
I mean, it just got to be handled the same way, because there's gonna be other fighters there, and you don't know who came in contact with them, so you got to quarantine them inside the same area. You don't know what they touched. It's just that's why I'm amazed how they nobody.
I will put more money on, mate. I will put more money on fight week anyway. On fight week, I'll be getting tested every other day.
Well, you see what Bob Arum said. He wants a machine that gives him tests in 15 minutes. Remember Dana White? Originally, the guy, I think, don't quote me wrong, I think he tested positive on Wednesday.
Yeah. And
Dana White wanted the result within the next 24 hours. He didn't get the result till Friday. And
well, you know what?
That's when the fight was canceled.
Mm.
But the fight was supposed to happen on Saturday.
Yeah. So
Bob Arum's key word was, I need a machine.
Yeah.
I would love to know if he did get the machine.
Yeah.
Because that was weeks ago, and he was targeting mid-June.
Well, look.
The fight is June 9th. Yeah. That's early June.
Well, look. So, if you look, the end of the day, they say in America, didn't they? You can get whatever you want at the right price. So, and Bob Aaron's worth a lot of money. So, but I think we're gonna have to like ride the storm a bit. I think we're gonna have to make do with probably not the fights we want, but at least we've got some fights. Because it ain't like now any fighter can travel to any arena and stadium in the world or any country. So I'm just gonna have to make do. That's why I'm really glad Povetkin White is happening, because there's no way that can't be a good fight. Someone is getting knocked out, simple as. And apparently on that undercard is Terry Harper versus, I don't know if it's on that undercard, but it's mentioned on the 4 shows Eddie Hearn's got, is Terry Harper against Natasha Jonas. Now that is a brilliant fight.
That's a very good fight. A friend of mine,
Great fight.
A friend of mine was telling me that her and Michaela Mayer in the future would be a good fight.
Which one, Terry Harper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They understand. I mean, Michaela Mayer is my favorite fighter, and that's my friend's favorite fighter too. And she was like, yeah, that would be a good fight, and yeah, I agree.
Then,
that would be an exciting fight.
And then you've got the main woman, then you got the main one. You got Katie Taylor against Serrano. Again, another good fight. It's nice to see she's back out again, defending her belts. That's always big, really. For Katie Taylor's quite big.
How good is Serrano? I don't really know much about her. The one she's fighting.
Yeah, good fighter. The big good fight. Look, Taylor's entertaining, to be fair, because sometimes she could probably make it a little bit easy for herself, but I think that's just the way she fights. She fights in bursts. Taylor could probably pop shot. She's got quick feet. She could throw one single counter, move, one single counter. But she likes to throw in 5 or 6 punches, then move, 5 or 6 punches. She's entertaining. So at least we got, hopefully, we get Katie Taylor out, Terry Harper out. This is the British side. Terry Harper out, Natasha Jonas. They've talked about Conor Benn, Chris Jenkins, Chris Billiam Smith supposed to be on the card, and the big one, White Povetkin. So hopefully that is delivered, and hopefully once that happens and it all goes successfully, we can start moving from there, because the sport is missed, and like you say, it does give everybody a boost. Sport does. That's why I'm glad the Premier League's back, and I'm glad that boxing should hopefully in the next 2 months anyway be back.
All we can hope for with all this, that everything goes well. It's already a violent sport, but you hope that everybody will be safe. Yeah. Because they're already taking the risk by getting in the ring.
Yeah, of course.
Now they're taking the extra risk with this coronavirus pandemic. So I just hope everything goes well, how Eddie Hearn plans it, how Bob Aaron plans it, the way Dana White opened the doors for everybody to do something like that.
Yeah.
You hope that, Premier League and all that, Bundesliga and everything that returns goes well, because it could go bad if it goes bad. So
yeah, of course, yeah. What they're saying with that's cool, because I know we're going off topic, but what they're saying with the NBA and NFL in America?
The NBA, I think, is looking to restart. They already opened facilities, so I think they've been opening facilities for players to practice.
Yeah, in groups. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know much about whether it's in groups or not.
Yeah.
But I think they plan on a return. I think I heard July 31st.
Okay.
End of July.
That's good. Because that it'll boost if cases drop down, deaths drop, athletes get back to doing what they're doing, to entertaining. Because at the end of the day, that's an athlete. Any sport is a form of entertainment first and foremost. That's what they're. No one watches. It ain't a mainstream sport. It's as simple as that. It's a sport because you can play with it. But mainstream sport is a form of entertainment. And I think once sport gets back, it'll lift everybody's mood, because it gives you something to focus on, something to cheer about, something to look forward to. If there's a big game, a big fight,
I completely agree with you.
It's more.
But we can't ignore, not saying that you are at all, but we can't ignore the risk of healthcare workers, the people in the hospitals, and all their efforts. So we just gotta be very careful and hope that everything goes well, because then all their hard work would have been put, we would have took a step backwards. You know what I'm saying? Put to jeopardy, I guess.
Oh, look.
You know what I'm saying?
There probably will be in all this, there probably will be. I ain't saying it's going to be anytime soon, but there probably will be. What do they call it? Like a second wave. There probably will. All over the world.
I'm hoping that. I'm hoping America and the UK would have dealt with it better than China.
As long as what I said, what the government guideline was, because if there's a flare up, say in, I don't know, Birmingham, for instance, or Wolverhampton, they'll lock down that area rather than locking down the whole country. If they've had 5 or 6 cases in Birmingham, lock down Birmingham. Make sure that it's everywhere else is all right. Okay, for like a month, maybe more, no one can leave again. And then make sure those cases are better. Find out who they've been in contact with. Open it again. I think that's a good idea. I do think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm for it. I just really wanted to work. I was a little skeptic at first, but you know, I mean, and then with everything going on in this crazy world, we don't really gotta go into details about that. But it will be nice to know. It usually take 8 days or whatever. What is the numbers like in America with everything going on? Because this is going on during some crazy times already.
Well, I think America opened up a lot quicker than everybody else did. They just opened their gates. So I mean, we've started to relax now, but our cases are a lot way down. Well, we went like 6,000 something a day, wasn't it? I think the other day it was 1,200, but that's still a lot. But 1,200 compared to 6,000 a day, that's a big drop. Whereas in America opened too soon, I think. But
you're right. I'm just saying the last 3 or 4 days, what's been going on in the country. I would like to see what the numbers will be like next week.
Oh, yeah.
That's yeah. But yeah, I'm happy boxing is back on June 9th. Tune in. It's gonna be on ESPN. No fans, and I want to see. Most of us being in the UK, we're not gonna watch it, but I want to see the backlash from it. Like, what's the feedback? How successful it was? Just like the Dana White card. I guess people might question why on a Tuesday, but
you know
June
what?
9th is a Tuesday. Then Thursday, June 11th.
You know what?
He did say he wanted to.
Because most people are at home. Don't matter.
Good point.
Don't matter.
And he said he wanted 2 to 3 fights, 3 shows per card, 3 cards per week.
Yeah.
Well, you got one on Tuesday, June 9th.
Yeah.
Thursday, June 11th.
Yeah.
And then God knows when the 16th is. Oh, that's the next Tuesday around.
Then hopefully, so that's the American side. Then hopefully, fingers crossed, that the British side, it's mid-July, maybe 14th, 15th of July.
And Espinoza was going for that too, so Showtime might start doing this stuff too.
Eddie Hearn starts his fight camp. Then hopefully the main event of that will be White Povetkin. Jace, thank you very much for talking on the podcast again, man, on the Weekly Boxing Chat. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me. A pleasure as always. Be safe. Hope you and your family safe. And I'll see you next time.
You too, mate. Stay safe. Cheers, mate.
Right.
Thank you.